Sure, why not? And I took it down the hall. I had to hide it under my shirt so they wouldn't see it on the video screens, and got into the matron's room. That was kind of tricky. I had to get in through the window by climbing out along the ledge with that snake squirming all over me. And then I put it in her bed and got the hell out of there. Not that it made any difference. She knew it was me, of course. But what happened? Well, I sort of wanted to hang out around at the end of the building, but of course there's that bed check, and anyway, it would have been kind of suspicious. It didn't matter in the end, but the way she yelled, the whole dormitory heard it. Everybody sat up in bed saying, "What's that? What's that?" She mimicked mousy feminine voices. But I kept my mouth shut, not wanting to give myself away. She took a deep drag on her cigarette and dropped it casually over the edge. They dragged me into her office the next morning, and she didn't even bawl me out. She was just real quiet and tense. It was kind of scary, but worth it to hear that old cow scream like that. Anyway, that was 2 days ago, and now they blindfolded me and brought me here. I thought it was because of that, but now I don't know. Peter said. "You sure don't talk much. What's your name?" "Mine's Lola." "Peter. How old are you?" "I'm 16. "So am I." That's also kind of interesting. Both from state homes," she said the word with an ironic twist, "and both 16. "I don't care if it's interesting or not," he forced himself to say. "I just want to get out of here. I hate it." "Well, if you hate it so much, kiddo, why don't you do something about it?" "Oh, I don't know." His voice trailed off again from its brief emotional burst, returning to the barely audible murmur in which he habitually spoke. "What is there to do? He sighed, "just wait till they come and get us out?" "But who says they're going to come and get us out, huh? I'm not going to wait around here in this, she gestured, "this place till some administrator out there remembers we're here. I'm going to find the way out, and if you don't want to stay here until you starve to death, I advise you to come with me. I don't know what they're trying to do, but I don't trust them, not one bit. Come on." But he remembered how confidently she had negotiated the steps and his own fears. But she was probably right. His only hope was to go with her. He got to his feet rather unsteadily, not looking down. "Now, up or down? Don't you have any ideas?" She paused only briefly. "All right, I'll say down. This place is just too big to be underground." And she started down the steps at a quick pace. He began following her slowly. It was horrible. Every time he took a step, he pictured himself plunging forward into empty space. He went carefully, setting both feet firmly on each step before descending to the next. Very soon she was far below him. She stopped to wait for him at another small landing. "Can't you go any faster?" she said when he approached. "We'll never get anywhere at this rate." "But he began. It was useless. She, who was so unafraid, would never understand. The hopelessness of the situation rose up inside him in a wave of self-pity. He swallowed, unable to keep his eyes from filling with tears. She was watching his face. "Oh well," she said, her voice suddenly growing softer. "Big deal. It probably doesn't make any difference anyway. Go as slow as you want. I'll stay with you." She kept just ahead of him as they went along, turning back often to talk. "So what's your life story? What about your parents? Did you ever know them?" "No, I can't remember anything about them. They told me my father died in the war. Same as everybody else. And my mother, she died in a car crash." "What kind of place did they put you in?" "Oh, different ones. Yeah, like, what were they like?" He thought of the first place, the one they had moved him from just 3 years ago. It had been an old building with windows that opened in every room a different shape, with beds and desks that weren't part of the wall, and they let you move around the way you wanted. The one where the matron had especially liked him, and the teachers had been interesting and kind. The one where he and Jasper had been roommates and best friends. Jasper, who had always taken care of him. He would probably never see Jasper again. Well? Oh, he had forgotten where he was, losing himself in memories. But somehow he'd managed to keep walking. "I was in one place for a long time. It was a real good place there." She looked back, noticing the new sound in his voice, then quickly turned away. "But then they moved me 3 years ago to another place." "The rats!" she interrupted quietly, but with surprising vehemence. "That was real big, and I didn't know anybody, really. Then they kept moving me to different ones, because I kept not adjusting. And then, today I thought they were just taking me to another one." "Yeah," she said, and stopped walking. They had reached another landing, where the stairway divided into 3 parts. 2 flights going up, and a narrow bridge without railings, 15 feet long, connected to another flight. There was still no bottom in sight, just more stairs, crisscrossing below them. "We're not getting anywhere," Lola said, looking down, "except it seems like there's more stairs down there, closer together." She turned to him. "Listen, we're going to have to cross that bridge. I know you don't want to, but it's the only way to keep going down. I'll go first." The bridge was only about a foot wide, arching slightly. Even Lola seemed rather hesitant as she stepped down onto it, and it took Peter nearly 10 minutes to inch his way across. Down they continued, until suddenly Lola stopped short, and he almost bumped into her. "Wait a minute," she said slowly. "Something weird here. It's getting harder and harder to go down. I mean, there's all those stairs down there, but..." From the landing below them, 3 flights went up, none went down. "But it's like they don't want us to get to them." She looked behind her. "Sorry, kid, but we're going to have to go back and take that bridge up there. This way goes nowhere." Backtracking became more frequent, for it was difficult to see very far ahead, and in any direction that looked promising seemed eventually to direct them upward again. Nevertheless, there were always stairs below them to hide whatever bottom there might be. Their progress became more horizontal than vertical, with more bridges to negotiate, and these continued to be a trial for Peter. At last Lola noticed his shaken condition. "Hey, want to sit down?" she said, as they stepped off a bridge onto a landing hardly big enough for them both. "Oh, yes," he said gratefully, and immediately sat down on a step. Lola reclined across from him, stretching out her legs and resting her feet on either side of his. She lit another cigarette, then put her hands behind her head as she puffed, the cigarette dangling from her thin lips. "Now I'm beginning to figure this place out," she said. "Maybe there is a way out down there, or up there." She jerked her head in that direction. "But they don't want us to get to it. These cruddy stairs just don't connect. There's no way to get to those stairs down there." He said. Inside himself he knew that the situation was, of course, hopeless, and that it was only a matter of time until even she would have to give up. But in the meantime it was diverting to follow along after her. There was, after all, nothing else to do except dream.